Okay, vitamins. Bariatric surgery and vitamins, you're chewing something, trying to drink something, but not with your meal. You're trying to time your calcium from your iron. Why are vitamins so confusing? Hey, I'm Steph Wagner. I am a dietitian specializing in bariatric surgery. I support patients in their everyday life in between follow-ups after their operation. In this video, we are covering vitamins. This is the 5th pillar of my 5 health pillars. And this is true for anybody, these 5 pillars, but we're talking about it specifically from the lens of bariatric surgery. So you can check out below my video on water, meal planning and food quality, movement, and sleep, and today is vitamins. Now, the first question I get most often with vitamins is like, how long do we have to do this? Do we have to do this forever? Is this a forever thing? And the answer is yes. When there is anatomy change in your body, we are changing how much and how things get absorbed. So supplementing your vitamins is something you'll do long-term after having changes to your GI tract. The next most common question I get is, does it have to be bariatric specific vitamins? The short answer is no, it doesn't have to be. The longer answer is you'll probably save more time and money in the long run if you do go for a bariatric specific vitamin. Back in the day, when I first started 14 years ago, you would have to take a 2 multivitamins, 2 calcium and iron, a probiotic, and forgetting something else, vitamin D, and they'd be all spread out through the day. So it was like all day long. And it did feel like, wow, am I gonna have to buy all these vitamins at a bariatric price? Times have changed, and as these bariatric vitamin companies have been around doing more research, improving their products and their offerings, they have been able to put a lot more vitamins into one chewy bite or one capsule or one chewable. So now you don't have to also take iron and vitamin D and B12. I think that was one I forgot. So it's a lot more simple to buy bariatric specific. You end up taking less vitamins through the day, which saves money in the long run because you're not buying as many bottles of things. So if you go over the counter, you're probably gonna have to buy a lot more vitamins to cover all of the recommendations. Speaking of recommendations, who recommends these? This is what's interesting about bariatric nutrition. You'll find that a lot of programs differ in different things. You'll hear different things about water and protein and how many meals a day, and you'll get a little bit of difference of opinion, different professional approach, a different approach for each patient because there's clinical judgment patient to patient. And there's gonna be nuances there. Not typically with vitamins. The only time that vitamin recommendations would change is based on lab values if somebody was deficient and needed additional vitamins on top of the recommendation. So the ASMBS, the American Metabolic Society of Bariatric Surgery, I think I said it wrong. The American Society of Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery. They are the ones that come out with official recommendations on what micronutrients patients need after gastric sleeve, gastric bypass, duodenal switch. So most programs are gonna have pretty standard protocols, which means a lot of bariatric vitamin companies are going to follow those recommendations. A lot of the main players are going to be Bariatric Advantage, Celebrate, ProCare. I've got a bottle of berry melts here, lots of different vitamin companies. So you do want to go through and see what product they have and what you might need. I have a blog that I'll link below that has images of, based on what surgery you had, your gender, if you have past history of anemia, if you're postmenopausal, then you click on the image that fits you the best and you can look at what the ASMBS recommendations are for you, and then you would compare that to vitamins. Also, by the way, ask a dietitian. They will save you a lot of time and help you figure out what you need for vitamins. So the kind of standard for most patients these days is a bariatric multivitamin morning and night, calcium citrate with vitamin D 2 to 3 times a day, spaced 2 hours from the multivitamin because if it contains iron, it has to be spaced out. Iron and calcium compete with each other. And then if you need anything additional like a probiotic or any additional vitamin D or things like that. Vitamins can be a doozy, they can be overwhelming, but again, it's gotten a lot easier than it used to be. So I guess we can, thank our lucky stars for that and appreciate that these vitamin companies are trying to make it better and better. But there's lots of different tips on how to remember vitamins. You could put alarms in an app like Baritastic. You can put alarms in your phone. You can use a pill box. You can put it by your nightstand. You can put it in the sink by your toothbrush. However you can remember those vitamins, it's something we call habit stacking. stacking. If there's a habit you do every day, then put your vitamins next to that thing, and that will help you to habit stack. If you're already brushing your teeth morning and night, put the vitamins, your multivitamin by your toothbrush because it's morning and night, you're habit stacking. But vitamins do get easy to forget. If you are kind of in a place where you've forgotten about vitamins, you're not taking them, you're off track, get back to them. If you haven't had labs in more than a year, get those checked, because I will say this, vitamin deficiencies are a pain, and I have seen some that have gotten really scary. So vitamin deficiencies are real. What's tricky about once a vitamin goes low is it's really hard to dig yourself out of that hole. Ideally, when you get your lab work done once a year, hold on to that, and then the next time you get your labs, take a look if anything is trending down. Even if things are still in normal limits, but you're like, oh wow, my B12 dropped a lot, even though we're still in the normal limit. Well, we probably still need to keep an eye on if we need to increase your B12, because it's easier to do it that way than to let it keep going down and then have to get back up to a normal level. B12 is a little bit easier one. Iron is a lot more difficult. Iron is a whole nother conversation, which I'm happy to have, but I'll probably leave off of this video for time's sake. But all that to say, if you haven't been getting back to your vitamins, it is a pillar that's worthwhile. This is one of those things that it may not feel like a pillar that's as important, but you do need to keep it going, because if it does start to crumble and you start having these deficiencies, it can cause problems down the road. So it's more about consistency, even if it doesn't feel as significant. I hope you've enjoyed this series on the 5 pillars for healthy living. Be sure and subscribe to my email newsletter. I send helpful information and recipes and tips every single week to your inbox. And stay tuned. Subscribe, because there will be more bariatric support in between your follow-ups coming soon.